Hi everybody. In this presentation, I'll be talking about a strategy I developed to efficiently add more details about Born Digital collections to archival finding aids. Visible here is a screenshot of a finding aid as it appears in the user interface of ArchiveSpace, showing a snippet of the inventory section that lists the contents of the Denise Berselli files. With digital files, the names of the folders and subfolders is already digital. My thinking is that there must be a way to get this information into a finding aid without manually retyping it. It's not unusual that repositories result to describing the entire digital content of a collection, possibly thousands of files, in one simple statement, as in this screenshot. I think we can all agree that approach is sometimes expedient, but it's clearly not very helpful. At least in my repository, we are generally not providing unmediated online access to Born Digital files. Usually there are both file format and copyright issues that make that impractical. Generally, we are going to be providing access, whether in the reading room or via some sort of online tool, based on specific requests. So we do want to describe the files in enough detail in a finding aid for people to have some idea what they might be wanting to request. One option is to link to a full file manifest from a finding aid, and we do often do this. This screenshot shows how we incorporated a link to a file manifest from the other finding aids note. You probably can't see this very well, but it's just a snippet of a spreadsheet with the file manifest. It lists every file in the collection, including its full file path, size, date last modified, etc. This information could be really helpful to a researcher, but if part of our goal in describing materials in finding aids is to improve discoverability, it's not going to help because information in externally linked files like this will not be indexed by ArchiveSpace. I wanted to find a way to efficiently transform what we have on the left, a file directory in an operating system, to what we have on the right, which is a listing of that file directory formatted as EAD and in this case displayed in ArchiveSpace. Replicating this information in a finding aid typically requires a fairly labor-intensive process. One may need to manually enter various descriptive elements into separate database fields. Not only is this tedious, but there are many opportunities to introduce errors as data is retyped or copied and pasted piecemeal. My solution was to write a Python script to capture this information from file directories and render it in a format that could be easily dropped into an archival finding aid. The metadata I decided would be most useful to capture for this purpose was folder titles, along with the size of each folder in bytes and the number of files it contains. I also wanted to be able to decide on a case-by-case basis, depending how the specific collection was organized, how many levels down to capture this information. I wanted to output the information in either plain text that could be cut and pasted into a note of some kind in the finding aid, or as XML that could be easily incorporated in an EAD finding aid as part of the DSC, or Description of Subordinate Components section. Unfortunately, I don't have time to do an actual live demonstration of the script, but here's what it looks like to run it from the command line. It asks for the directory path to run on. I've entered the path to where the Denise Berselli files are stored. Then it asks whether you want the output as a plain text list or as EAD. So here I've chosen EAD. Next, you indicate how deep into the file tree you want the directories and subdirectories to be listed. And I've entered 2, so it will give me the top level folders and the subfolders under those. Then finally, you give a file path and name for the output. And here's how the plain text output looks. In this example, the top 2 levels of a file directory are listed, including title, total size, and total number of files. Top level of directories are listed flush left, and any subdirectories under them are indented under them with a dash in front. Any additional files not contained in a subdirectory are summarized as additional files. And here's the EAD code it generated as it would appear in a text editor. The idea is that this could now be copied and pasted into the appropriate section of an EAD file where the contents of the collection are listed. And again, here's how the EAD folder list looks when viewed in ArchiveSpace. This Python script is available via GitHub at the link shown here. and I'm hoping others might find this useful. If you decide to try it out, let me know how it goes or if you have thoughts on how it could be enhanced. Thanks very much.